Growing up in a stereotypically Asian American household, there were a lot of expectations placed upon me. And a lot of my identity had been founded on my grades. That's kind of the way my parents raised me. That's kind of the way my dad raised me. Out of school, it took me a little while, but I eventually found a job and a career in the IT field, and it was cool. The excitement kind of wore off after a while. I don't know, it was weird because every time I felt like my paychecks were getting bigger, so was my dissatisfaction, but I just kept throwing distractions at myself. My emotional and spiritual state when I originally found Metro was, it wasn't great. An opportunity presented itself where Zemele, a nonprofit focused on South Africa, was going on an ambassador trip. I figured if I can't find the answer to my questions here in America, why not travel to Africa, see if maybe God's doing something or has something for me there. So when I first arrived in Africa, I had a pretty poor attitude, wondering what I was thinking, why I had, decided to come. But then we got to meet some of the locals, and so we go into this mud hut with no ventilation, no air conditioning. This really hot hut where a group of women had decided that they were going to, I don't remember what they were making. It was either tapestry or arts and crafts of some sort, and it almost felt like I was on holy ground. That these women were taking charge of their lives, that they weren't given any opportunities, so they decided that they would make one for themselves. And I remember that resonated with me so much, and all I wanted to do was help them. And I'd never felt before that there was something I was supposed to do. There were other things that I wanted to do, or other things that I could do, but that was the first time I felt like that's something I was supposed to do. During and after the trip, I felt convicted to find work doing something that was more helpful to others than it might be to me. The conversation that I was most nervous having was with my dad. When I told him what I wanted to do, he took a moment, and then he started telling me the only thing he didn't want for me was for me to live my life with regrets. And so he said he wouldn't mind if I was poor, he wouldn't mind if I had to live a life of sacrifice. What he didn't want for me was to live a life full of regrets. And so he gave me his blessing, and since then he's been my biggest supporter. Maybe like 2 or 3 months after that, I got a call from Pastor Peter, and he asked me if I'd be interested in being his assistant. A little bit after that, Metro asked me if I'd be interested in leading their 4th and 5th grade ministry. Maybe a few months after that, they offered me their position as associate director of Metro Life, which is our after-school program, working with at-risk teens in Inglewood. Essentially, my role in all these positions is the same. I get to help people. Whether it's helping them do their job better, whether it's teaching them about Jesus, or whether it's helping them to reach goals that they otherwise would have thought impossible. And it's interesting that I've never been paid less in my life, but I've never felt more overpaid at the same time. But I feel like I'm finally doing what I'm supposed to be doing, and that brings me a lot of joy, a lot of satisfaction. And so on the outside, it may seem like I'm living a life of sacrifice, but to me, it doesn't feel that way at all. I don't feel like I'm sacrificing anything, because what I got in return far outweighs what I've had to give up.